Okay, we're going to broadcast live on YouTube now. This is a Zoom class live streaming. We are going to record this also. And let's see if I can do another channel on Facebook. Just testing. Share on timeline. It looks okay. Okay, just 1 minute. Let me just make sure it works. Okay, so we need to click on this. Oh, it's live. Go live. Add the title. We don't need the title for now. Okay. Add the title. Where's the Zoom? Okay. Everybody's here, I assume. Let's see. How are you doing? Emily, Daisy, Ginny, Charlie. Okay, Lois. I'm going to mute everybody now. You can chat with me if you like. Let me open chat. So if you have questions. Okay. First of all, let's review the paintings we studied last time, and then we'll continue with another master of the Yuan dynasty, which is very influential. If you count the pages I sent you from the book Mustard Seed Garden Manual of Painting, is at least 8 or 10 pages credit to him. His name is Wu Zhen, but in art history they always call him by the name, the artist's pen name, Wu Zhonggui. Wu Zhonggui. There's different spelling, but you can tell the sound maybe from even spelled differently on MSG book and other art history books. So let's look at some paintings first. Okay. Wu Zhen Sport Go Live. Let me see. Yeah, here. Okay, let's take an overall look first of the this scroll we studied last time, remember, is by Huang Gongwang. He is the oldest of the 4 masters of Yuan dynasty. Let me see if I go home. Okay. And we also studied this painting on the lower right. It's by Ni Zan. He is relatively young among the 4. Not the youngest. I think the youngest is Wang Meng. We all. If you watch the James Cahill's lecture, he has 2 lectures on Wang Meng. He represents a very dense style, very different from Ni Zan's simplicity style. His mountain is shaped with this special technique called untangled rope. or sometimes called the new mao, the ox hair or buffalo hair, something like that. It's very different. Okay. Okay, see. I need to go back. Yeah. Okay, this one is what we're going to study. The Ganna 4 in Yuan Dynasty. This is a pine tree, I think. Yeah, a dead pine tree, if you will. And let's take a look of his brushwork. Okay, and he's characterized by the wetness or the feel of moisture on his painting. So it's very different from the other three masters. They are characterized by the dry brushworks and dry ink wash, that kind of scratching or scampering or rubbing kind of thing. But you can see his work is it feels wet still, almost like, yeah. So it has lots of moisture in it. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have any dry stroke. You can take a look. So his method is more emphasized on the wash. There are four elements of landscape painting: the outline or the contour, the shaping strokes for texture, also on the trees, this contour and the wrinkles, we call it wrinkles, also on the rock, on the trees. And then it comes the wash, and in Chinese 染, and 点. 点 is dotting. He is characterized by his trademark dot. It's called 梅花点. His Taoist name is the Taoist of plum blossom. People call his, look at these dots, almost like petals of plum blossom. But you can see the different shapes, right? And immediately I would like to mention that he dot, at least here you can see different layers of dots overlapping. Between each layer, you must wait it to dry. So it's nothing like the Zen, but similarly to the Zen landscape, there's some broken ink, like on this trunk here. Before the dark gets dry, you got light wash. But normally he will do it after the previous layer is dry, And you can see the dark is dark, light is light. That's similar to the Zen painting or other classical painting, the Southern Song Dynasty, also. But so they are different. So there are different tonalities. In Chinese we call 墨分五色, 五色墨. It's five tonalities, 5 colors of ink in Chinese. But you can see they are not loaded on the same brush, so they applied differently. So there are actually more than 5. You can see there's very light ones here, and some may be applied to, any row could be broken. So within the light, there could be some variations. Within the dark, there could be some variations. It's not monochromed in a restrictive sense. Someone in the for the handout, you didn't get it, Joanne? Oh, I'm sorry, you probably are not on the list. So
no, I did not.
Can you, Joanne, do you have an account at Blue Heron? You can go there. Actually, I just copied the page. Not Blue Heron, the ChineseBrushPainting.ning.com.
Okay.
Yeah, let me show you where it is.
Okay.
So you go to It's lesson 12. Okay, let me show you.
Oh, okay.
It's on the. If you go from the home page, let me show you the. For other people who do not have the handout, actually I uploaded it days before the class. Let me show you where you can find. So this is the home page, and you just click on this icon, goes to this landscape classroom, and here's a list of my lecture notes. This is lesson 12, Wu Zhen, and it has date on it. This is the lecture date. So I published earlier than that. So these are the paintings we're going to. I'll put this on the screen so you can see it. So the first painting I'm going to do is this mustard seed garden manual painting to talk about his rocks. Okay, so let me pin my video. Okay, let's change the. This is the first painting on the page. So before we do a copy, I haven't decided which one. Depends on the time. Let's do some study of. He's good at. He's well known for his fisherman paintings. Represent hermit life, ideal life of the recruit scholars. He never pursued a official career, unlike Wang Gongwan or other. I don't know if Wang Meng did. Yeah, but he was educated in Taoist monastery. Maybe he became a Taoist priest himself, and he also well trained in other great traditions like Buddhism and Confucianism. And he became a private teacher and Taoist. Let's see. I don't have that. Let's see. Oops. Right here. Okay. You see it? Okay. This is the page that mustard seed garden manual of painting. Whoops, I think here it is. I think I got it wrong, but basically it's similar. This is for Jiran, but they're in the same tradition. He learned after the great master of the pre-Song, early Song dynasty master Jiran. Some of you have copied the hemp texture or hemp shaping strokes. That's him, and he developed into. I think I should find that original one if I could. I think I made a mistake. Let me just do the next one maybe. On the in the book you can find a page probably right after this one is 133, maybe 134 or something. It's Wu Zhonggui's, but this one definitely has his name on the title. You can see this one I shared with you last week. Last week I didn't have chance to paint it. Let's do this one too to start with. This one is simplified. That's good. But it's emphasized on his dots on the rock. But I can add something maybe in addition to this. So let's do this one as a warm up. Okay, if you record the method of doing this kind of rock is to start with a contour, right? And he probably do the contour and let me share the screen and let me take this one so you can see my I have a screen on the upper left showing loading ink. Maybe you can also see on the. So this is the same. Let's see if okay, just in case in case I zoom in, let me zoom in right now so you can see details. I want to show you some details. So you always start from a medium grade ink. You can get a whole lot of it, so you don't have to always add water to get it. But you don't have to make it even. So some part may be still light, some part is darker. That's okay. You don't have to blend it, okay, on the palette. So I will start with this little rocks. It's called the alum lumps, right? Then you just outline them. See the angular kind of just have some squarish shape, not just round. Maybe, but he, more or less very close to Southern Song, right? He's a little younger, so he was probably born in the Yuan dynasty, but not very far. He's early Yuan from the Southern Song dynasty. So this, the angular rocks is the Southern Song style. But Huang Gongwang, the other master we learned last week, made it more round. But this is good to, instead of doing a curve, a round curve like a concave curve with a center like a round. You should do it more squarish here. So this may have a little, just give a little bit angles. Not even noticeable. It feels like a curve, but it has angle on it. So I start to do the shaping right away because this ink is the same, and you can also do the inner part of the rock, and then you outline it. Notice the position of those shaping strokes. It's usually along the like here on the upper side of this contour. Not on the lower side. So if it's on the upper side, not on the lower side. Okay, so this is the key. And also notice that you can make crossing lines. However, you don't want to make a crossing at the same point. In other words, let me make some illustrations here. So you can make you can cross off. Of course, you can touch it. Not parallel exactly. Notice the different lengths, and I can continue this one long, one short. Yeah, see. And I can extend it, I can combine them, so. And very importantly, to create that kind of juiciness, you need to hold the brush straight. Hold the brush straight. I think I did it wrong. And also make sure the tip remains pointed. Remains pointed. Okay, if we just practice this line without thinking about the structure, it's good actually. You can just make this kind of practice. See, think about long and short, long, short, short, long, short, short. This kind of alternation. You can kind of extend it if if you cannot hold the brush too high or lift your wrist, If your line is too short, let's go. Okay, you can always extend it. And here's don'ts I was trying to say. So you don't want to make three lines crossing at the same point. Right? That's a no. So for those lines, yeah. Any questions? I heard someone wanted. Okay, let me see. Okay, it's a good idea if you want to copy exactly the composition. It's better to. You see, I'm out of space already. To outline the major divisions first, but here I just want to show you the hemp strokes. Okay, so I may not do the whole thing, and I just do this part. And you can sometimes you can go the opposite direction. It's okay, and you can go kind of back and forth. That's okay. So when you're familiar with the brush, the material, you can feel free, just like writing cursive style calligraphy. He's by the way master of cursive style calligraphy, but his painting is very I won't say slow, but standard script kind of painting. So after this, you can start washing, and then the dark is added the last, and you can wait it to dry a little bit, or you can start washing if you want really soft effect on the distant mountain, maybe something, because this is a sized paper, so it's not going to bleed. You can wash within the border. If you want to wash the whole thing, you need to wet the paper, but when you wash the blocks of rock, I usually you can do it with two brushes. One with ink a little lighter, maybe it should be put on the shady part, and then you kind of use the clean brush. You remember this two brush? So this two brush technique, separate wash or gradation, is very helpful. So you put ink with one, and then use clean water to pour the ink to create the gradation. That's the kind of see, and you can wet the whole block, and then the key is don't have excessive water on the paper, like watercolor paper. Watercolor artists always have that kind of pool of water, and then you kind of let it drip or lead the paper at an angle or something. We don't really do that. It's always flat on the table. So when you finish a section, it's dry on the surface, not excessive, because this brush is not it's water but not so wet. It serves like a sponge, and it spread the ink. So I just put the ink on the shady part, and then use the clean brush, spread it to create the yin yang effect, right? You see, it's not. The line is. You don't have to wait the line completely dry. Say if this is the background mountain, you can do this within the boundary. You can wet it first. You can wet the lower part only, and then you still have the harder edge on that. And you can also do a remote mountain with wet, and then just similar to the Southern Song dynasty style, right? And he has some painting. I see dark mountain in front of the light later. After this light, let me show you some distant mountains here. So for the distant mountain, you can. Okay, let me get to that. Okay, here we go. Let me show you some techniques. And he used this mulberry paper, I think. That's another question is what paper he used, right? It's a semi-sized paper, I think. Okay. And let's see. Let's look at this painting. It's a horizontal scroll, and you can see his tone and outline. It's very less contrast itself. I mean, the rock itself is relatively the same tone in light. Maybe vary the dryness and leave some white on the dragon vein. This is the dragon vein, the ridge, and then add the lighter gray, but darker gray, but dots, and then the darkest are added. Let me show you the details of these, and you can see some distant mountain could be dark than that's the way they look sometimes. Yeah, this mountain could be in cloud shade or something. It's all depends on the artist's feel. Doesn't have to be a single light source. And you can see his dots. It's rounded on top, and if the brush starts to split, you put the split part on the lower part. See. It has to do with the motion of the stroke. So this need to practice. It's kind of standing on the paper. It has a rough foot, right? And it's something like a mushroom kind of top. And this is more horizontal on the trees. So the rough is on one side instead of on the bottom. It's more horizontal kind of. Okay. That's it. We're not going to paint this one. I have to. Okay, so here's a story about his dots. I want to share with you. I don't read much stories like Nizan and other artists. His family is unknown, and there's not much besides his writing, his poet, on the painting. He does not really leave much stories behind. But one story I think has to do with his technique. Is someone, his contemporary, wrote that he will paint a pile of I will say half finished or almost finished, like 90% or 80% finished painting, with only one thing left, which is dots. That's his trademark. He's known for in the art history. His 梅花 dots, the plum blossom dots. Okay, good question, Pam. I think, he certainly twisted the brush between strokes. I'm not sure if he does. Let's try if he does the twist on the paper, but let's try. So his dots, let's just practice his dots before I have to wait that dry to do. See that? Yeah, I got it. Right. We use this this brush called mask dots. It's designed for this kind of task. I think you need to have a motion that goes kind of, like how you start a blunt stroke, like a tip concealed stroke. You don't have to do it fast like this, but later you can do that. In the beginning, you can do slow. On this paper, on this this is a mobile paper. It's okay too. So you can, but you have to make it rounded. Not this is too squash. So after you maybe do 100, you will get a sense of it. And yeah, you need to twist the brush. It starts to split, and you can kind of see. Let me zoom really in so you can see. It's not very focused, I think. Okay, this close enough, right? Okay, so I'm saying that you can see it's the way of making a little circular, maybe half circular movement, but not to the, this is, you kind of like this. So you hide the tip. The tip is like here. If I draw this brush, and then you go from here to here. So tip is on one side, or in the middle of the stroke. Yeah, they hide the tip from the middle. Remember we do the plum blossom. I think I talked one time. Oh, that's the different class. I confused with the other class, the Liu class. And if you draw the circle like this, right? The plum blossom. And you can do in flower painting. You can do it both sides, but in this the point is the same. When you try to do something round, the tip is on one end, maybe on the lower part. Yeah. So, but don't have that little tip. That's not good. So try to make it round. I think the other thing he make it look rounded is he has a lot of water. I mean, lot of ink in it. So if you look at his original, you'll see that he has a hard edge. So it's almost like drip on it, like a drop. Yeah. You don't have to. In that case, you want to keep a little distance. Sometimes barely touch, but not repeat. You can not overlap right away. You can overlap later. So maybe more ink. Let's try this here. I think we can do that now. Let me enlarge it. You can see where to put. It's not very high resolution though. That's big enough. Okay, see where he put is lower part of the rock. It's on the shady part. You want, like here. So my dots is a little squarish, but this one's good. It's okay. You just keep. You can vary the size, but relatively the same size. I think that's some small, some large, maybe okay. But definitely vary the distance. Right? I can have some lighter ones to begin with. So that's the disadvantage of this monoprint version of it kind of misleads you. You have to figure out the actual ink usage. So the dark should be added later. Actually, we can use light to begin with. This is a different brush. It's the rabbit hair combination brush, which is really good for our purpose, including the dots. So let's just do some light ones. These are not too contrast with the rock shaping or contouring. A little darker would be fine. And then after this dry, you can add the dark to yeah. Don't do any dots on the distant one. Here is a different. This is all like a foreground, but if I want to make this as a background, you need to save. Don't do any details on that. Okay. Yeah, then you can, after the light dots dries, you can add darks. Let me just add a few to show you. This is a little risky because it might bleed if I dot on the wet. I try to find the space in between, yeah. So if it's too small, it's not good. You can kind of you can manipulate the brush a little more. Okay, that's kind of dots. I think you can also draw a little bit darker. It's just make a little the focal point maybe a little bit darker, but always leave the just dot one side on top, not on the bottom, okay, of the contour, so that actually squeeze out the light part. That's the key. You can feel that yin yang contrast there, right? I try to make sure you see that. It's not usually outlined. It just squeezed out with dots. Yeah, that's the point. Okay. Just do like every step. You should not finish. You just do like a 70%, 60%, maybe 50%, and then use wash to complete. That's his style, I think. Okay, let's do a whole painting. Any questions about the dots and washes? Some of you may ask, what about the background? I think his painting is always like tanned. That's because the color change, aging of silk. Most of his painting on silk still, I think. But if you do the wash on the background, I would use water and just damp the paper. But you can still use light and the dark. You can still have some kind of stroke but more blurry. So you can use antique color or T, something like that. You can even wash on the back side. But on the back side usually are the covering colors like the mineral colors. That's what we usually do. And on the foreground, I just use just clean this plate. You can still have. You should always show the strokes, even with washes, like this kind of stroke. Oops, I got ink in it. Okay, should we leave it or? And this is the sized paper. It can be blot. See how easy that is? So the light could be created by adding water or blotting, still. And some of you know the Princess Puru. He blot a lot, I think. Yeah, he used this kind of paper. But this kind of paper is hard to get dark. You have to grind the ink very dark, and use accumulating ink. So it's maybe 3 layers to get the darkness. This is pure dark ink, but yeah, you can. It's the best between each layers where they dry completely, so you don't have blurry dots. Right? The dots should be added when you are in the best mood, and maybe in the morning, first thing in the morning or something like that. So very fresh. Dot is really the show-off part of his painting. Yeah. So that's just a short demo. Let me see what painting we want to do. I have several candidates here. There's a garden painting. This is too small. And let's look at the high resolution ones first. Okay. This one is good, but maybe too complicated. I really like to do one of the trees, the old pines with character. Let me see. This is yeah, this one is good. Whoops. This one what? It's just blank. Something wrong with this. Yeah, Daisy, the dots is very like calligraphy. Yes, definitely. It has the tip concealed start, and then I think my website crashed. Okay, let's stop sharing for a moment. Let's just use the local file. Oops. Still loading. Okay, let me just find that local file. We can do this one. I think we can enlarge it enough. Yeah, we have good enough copy here. And let's do this one. I would cut let's see, the whole format is kind of scroll. It's pretty long. I'm not sure if this is enough. It's probably good. If I cut it in half, it's not going to work. This is like the medium sheets, like the 13 or 14 by 18. So I cut this maybe this way, this triplet. Usually we don't do this, right? So I cut it into the thirds of a medium sheet. So it will be about 18 or 16, 17 and a half by, this is less than, it's about probably 10 or 8. Let's see. This is 9. So still about 9, I think. 9 inches. And the height is about 17 and a half or something like that. Not 18. So one third of the medium sheet. And the paper I use today is mulberry paper number 2. It's colored mulberry. It has a little golden speckles or golden flaked mulberry number 2. It's a lemon color. I also have other colors like apricot, that's yellow, or I think this is lemon. There's a greener one. It's called dew. What is it called? Mountain Dew? I forgot. To kind of start with, if we look at the original, I think maybe just follow this. It definitely will start with the tree, and the point is you start from wash or you start from dark contour. I think let's try to start from light, not wash, but so if we make any mistake, we still have room to adjust, right? So we use a medium grade ink. Let me just get a little more ink here. You can see that's darkest. You don't do the dark. You see the dark on the top. That was added to the last. Okay, so you start from the medium, and you can wash the lightest. That's always the place to start. I got some peach sap glue here. On the mulberry paper, it's a little more absorbent than the sized paper, so it's a good idea to add a little bit, maybe just to control the bleeding. It's a lot of, you don't need much ink at all. So this is too much. Yeah, that's about it. Okay. It's actually very light. I want to start with light, and then I was you can use charcoal to do a placement sketch, or you can use your fingernails. Just mark the top and the bottom of the tree, and the place on the paper. Let me see. Yeah. So see the root is about 1/3, and the top is about the tree is about half of the height of the paper, maybe. So 1/4 or something like that on the. Let me just use my charcoal here. I use soft charcoal. So this is about 1/3 here, and I mark the crown here. It's a diagonal, right? But it's not a single line. I don't mind that. I just draw a general line for the gesture. And this is like Tai Chi. My own teacher, Han Shaoying, my landscape master seed garden manual painting teacher taught me that the crown of the pine is like Tai Chi. I didn't understand until I practiced Tai Chi. I see that now the gesture of Tai Chi here, and you can see that it's almost like a yun shou kind of. And here is another knob. So something to think about. And I use a duster, dust it off. Okay. Put it in here. And you can use a smaller brush. I was thinking to use that big brush for the wash, but now I changed my mind to use this smaller. Or you can use the same brush we used earlier, the mustard. This is the combination. Oh, the mustard would be good. Yeah, this is the mustard brush. It's too dark. Let me save this. Let me use this one, similar to the mustard, but an older version. Okay, so I decide here, it's not in the middle, it's about just off the center is my first stop. So I'll just start from there, and then I go slowly. I just kind of draw a line, just like my sketch, almost like the charcoal sketch, and then I do another little section. That's it, and then I dot this little knob hole, triangular shape, and then I have to save this white. That's very important. Eye, we call it the eye, yan. Okay, and then you go up to the next stop, wherever that is. And here is the lower part of that arm. I call this arm, and make sure you don't paint the branches too large. This is a little curve, but still basically straight, but not absolutely straight. It's between square and the round. That's always the best to see, to do. Okay, and you don't have to complete. You can leave some space and painting space between these. I just draw a sketch basically. And here is another continuation of the top, and then just almost like a 15-degree U-turn kind of on top, and that top actually here is on the left side. Maybe, yeah, whatever. So you don't want to have a pointed top. It's one to the left, to the right, one to the, and then there's another branch to the right, and just counterbalance the opposite movement, kind of like a Tai Chi. The left always balance the right. And here is another branch that goes almost parallel, but just shorter than.
上面部分 off cam.
Oh, off cam. Sorry. My zoom. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I was talking about this crown part. It has a branch to the right here, and then a counterbalance to the left, and then this branch is parallel, almost parallel, but not exactly. So just like that, a smaller one. So it echoes this longest arm on the, but yeah, this single arm balances the whole body of the gesture, and this area we call it like a 女字, just like character 女, a woman crossing in plum blossom painting we have learned. This goes all right off the page. Don't be afraid to break the edge. It leads the painting into infinity. And this one goes up. I should save the dark ones, believe it or not. This actually should be later, but we just do the light first, okay? Not the dark. But there are some light ones behind the dark that should be done first. But you can also add later, but it's a good idea to do the light first. But his painting is very clear on who's behind, who's in the front by tonality. See, here I get this a little too dark. It should be the lightest. So on this right side, you can see at least 3 tonalities. One very light. Let me add that. That's behind. Yeah. So just make sure the tonality indicate the depth, distant, who's behind. And here is almost like a balance of this side. So you look at this side on the left, and then you do a balance, which is not on the same level. It's a little higher, but it's so if this is yin and this will be yang, or this is yang, this will be yin. It's a pair. This is a pair. So you always try to find the left and the right pairs. So let's do this one here. Almost like use tip concealed stroke, tip centered stroke. Twist the brush if necessary. Like calligraphy, yeah. See, this is too dark. I purposely did that. Just show you how to blot it. You can use this piece would work. Don't have to be very absorbent, but just a blotting paper to adjust it. Make sure your line is bone stroke, what they call this, bone stroke. Yeah. Not try to duplicate the ink, but try to learn the strokes, I think will help. This kind of trunk is almost like the cypress tree we usually do. It has this kind of rope texture. Let me enlarge. See if I can do that. Or my painting is still missing. Oops. Let me close this. I try to pull out the high resolution one. Yeah. Slower. Maybe my bandwidth is kind of tight today. Anyway, so we just do this. Yeah, it's a split brush on the trunk. You can see, but not necessarily at the beginning. If you use split brush, both for the light and the the dry, you may not create this kind of juicy effect. So at the beginning, we just use different dry and wet strokes. Then when we do the dark, we will use wet light to contrast with the dark dry. That's the idea, I think. And it's a good idea. You always draw instead of paint. Just and you can see the trunk is not even relatively same width, but you can vary. There's some bulky part and some, but you just balance it. And there's a division of like a split in the end of this. We need to start separate this too, so there is separate the side, and there's a tree root that's only on the main tree, and there's a long one on the right side, and you can just draw this line, and then we outline it with darker ink. At this point, I just draw this. Can you see my table here? Yeah, okay. And you can use, it's like draft. I used light ink. And that's the split. And that's the whole. Okay. Anyway, it's not going to be the same, I know. So basically, I'm still working on the composition. So I don't want to go to detail yet. And let's draw this ground. So this rock and the ground. This is a cliff, kind of. Look at the whole painting. Okay. So roughly, this rock is on the right side, right? That's about here. So that's a shape I want to save, and you can do some shaping right away with light.
Off camera.
Off camera, okay. And you move it up. And then I connect this here. So this part is squeezed out with this front shape. I mean this rock shape. And there's a curve. It stops the sharp slope a little bit, make it smoother, and then go down. So that's the steps. 2 steps. Okay, then this part starts from here to behind the tree. So I add some water, just do a very wet outline, just like that. And this goes behind. We just do a shape. It will be covered with trees here. And here are some dry strokes. I think it's just like a X cut, maybe, kind of strokes. And then some division of this block you can, but very, very blurry, so you just divide it into some sections, and then I'll just use wet, not wet, dry light maybe, to give it under structure. So this could be grass kind of thing. So you can just draw some. It's X cut actually. Believe it or not, lot of X-cut stroke. I can see horizontal strokes or diagonal, yeah, pointing to the. Okay, so I shape a little bit to the upper side of the inner contour. As my root is there still. You can see a little bit. I will enhance it. That's a white line I want to highlight. So I just paint a shadow on that, along that, and then just squeeze it out with some rock, right? This is very light so far. It's on the dark, pad, so it looks like this background. I can start to think about that. So let's just do a first wash with a very light. So we start from light this time. If you want, you can draw this. This is very important to draw this kind of river mouth. I think we have problem with Xiagui's class. Make sure the horizontal lines are quite horizontal, and then this curve is a step, like so it's just like a step, and then there's another bank. Let's keep it horizontal. So don't make it too like a S here. It's a C. Yeah, squeeze the S if you want. Just make sure that you get that feels very okay. Flat. Okay. So let's do. This is too dark, maybe. I'll draw this river mouth with a line first, so I make sure I got that one correct. Let me see this. This is the. Make sure it's not too big, so it's distant mountain. So you want to keep it small, and it goes all the way there. Actually, I made it higher, but it's fine. And then the horizontal strips of sandy bank, like we did with the wild geese, and a branch maybe between the sandy bank and the rivers, or there's some reflection, maybe white there. And that's it, I think. So this mouth has two sides. It's not exactly the same shape. This one, there's a cliff there, something like that, and a lot of hemp stroke, just the horizontal, and then the darkest part is added later. I think we just do the light first, and this goes down. It's a very decorative approach. I think it feels like the horizon is banded, but that's okay. You know, they just. Okay, so basically I will enhance it later. Okay, there should be a white cliff above the water in dry. Let me see if I can still save some white there. I can. Yeah, I got a little there. That's good. That's enough. Identify the rock. All right. This is a little bit too wet, right? So don't worry. we'll cover it. The tree part, we need to use a darker tone to start adding the more texture and so it's more almost like a Southern Song style tree, very bony. Ma Yuan, the Southern Song master who does the angular plum tree, that kind of that's the kind of stroke. But I just saved the when you copy, you always turn to do the dark first. I try to hold on that, yeah. And then that's the last step. Okay. Just prepare for that fun part. Not yet. If you do the dark first, it will be just like a Southern Song style painting. They do that. So this is just different style, different sequence, different approach than the previous styles we learned in Southern Song or Northern Song. Okay, so don't have to be the same. I noticed the alternation of dark on right and then left. So they're not kind of like here is on the left, then it tends to shift to the right, and you can leave yan above that. So this part is quite lit, maybe. So this is shady part. This just use a smaller brush if you will. I'm using a larger brush because I don't want to go back load too often. Okay. And you don't have to copy exactly. Just got the idea of alternating sides, and there's some kind of foreshortened branch here, and there's a little knob besides this one. So this one is you can have a shading on top, so there's not just a dead ink. It has some light and yin yang by itself. It's just within the hole, And this is another hole. Could be. Let me enlarge it if you cannot see. I'm working on this one. It's not a hole, but just a fold in like. So some bark identified as a pine tree. So it's like a little circles kind of, but not exactly rounded. It's just some kind of oval shape. It's fine. They're not dark. The darkest is on the branch, I think. They're just darker than the ground. And here you can add a little darker on the tip. Maybe we can get a broken ink effect on the brush. That's the split between the two. And then just do this side. It's more important to control the width of the tree, look more believable, just proportional. Then the stroke should be to go with your painting. So you look at your painting more than the sample. Maybe and here it's too wet, so I'd have to wait. It start to blur into the background. That's not very good. So you need to wait. And here I need to. You just keep adding the dark area, but not in one step. So now I'm adding medium dark, and later I'll use darkest dark against that outside to squeeze it out. So save that for the dots, the tree dots, the leaf foliage. So this one goes behind, That's okay. I think my rock is too far. I mean, my root is too far from the gravity, so I need to correct that. See, I can easily correct it. When I do the sketch, it's too far on the gravity. I can see it's right here. So because I did it in light, it doesn't matter. I can just ignore the early sketch. Correct it with this. Maybe I did it too close, but I want to emphasize on the on this point, just to make I can make another branch maybe to, and then you can shade the right side, so it could be another root, but not exactly parallel to this. So there are many layers work together to create the effect. And this kind of stroke is very familiar, right? And this is what X cut, right? X cut, like that. Dry brush. So not just wet, the dry brushes everywhere. It gives you impression wet because of the wash. We normally don't do this much wash with other artists' styles, but his is different. I need to make up a little ink here. It's too white, maybe. Okay, now let's look at the top. Okay, I got here with a little darker ink. Yeah, this part. Just dry the brush. You can use split brush to get the texture, but it's still stroke, not just a scratch, not just a dry. You can see, there's still stroke, very firm, short marks of strokes, and you can do some circles maybe for the tree. Just a little layer, and this light branches kind of goes one side longer, should be right. Okay. Now let's make it dark. I can't wait. I just can't wait. I confess, it's just too inducing. I mean, this is the darkest dark, and this one, and I just use it to adjust the shape. I don't have to repeat anything. Just ignore what we got. And just like adding another layer in front of it, and see this little angle. There's almost horizontal, and then go down a little bit, go up a little bit. That's the idea. And see the ending of the stroke, not always sharp. It could be a stop. Also, here is it's just enhance the previous layer, and it goes like round within the square, a very subtle movement. like a Tai Chi, with this circle at the 10. Yeah, that kind of thing. Oops, that's too dark, but that's okay. We don't copy stroke by stroke, but if I have room, I will just do that. Alright, this little hole is dark. Yeah, that's the dark on the top. It's enough. Not single tone. Still, there's some medium dark. I will save the dots to last, just like we learned from the note of his contemporary artist. He would do the dots on a different day, maybe. Okay, and just save the dots. Yeah, I did a few, but that's okay. There's lots of dots. The lichens, no pine needles in this case, but still pine tree. I think is identifiable with the bark. You can make a little round ways. Identify that a little bit. Okay, now let's see. Oh, there's dry branches, other trees, I think. Okay. Just like a calligraphy, I think it goes from bottom up, but remember this color is not a host, so make sure it's not too dark. Blot it if it's too dark. So I just have it go. It's almost straight. Right, and something behind. And there's a crossing branch. Don't have to copy exactly, just to look at your painting, you'll know where need to balance, something like that. Okay, so now the orchids, I call it orchids because it's the same kind of stroke we do with orchids. It comes with a group of 3. The longer one, then the shorter ones, 3, and then another 3 maybe. That's a little too long, but I think this is the one behind, so this should be lighter. I just blot it, see. Move it up. This could be done with lighter ink. Yeah. Then the darker one in front, it could be darker. We don't have a complete picture. There's something missing on the bottom I cannot show, so we just have to make it up. This one, you can go beyond the shape of the rock. Just do orchids, 3, 3, 3. 凤眼, the phoenix eye method. Use a small knife, a small brush maybe, small brush. Okay, there are some lighter ones behind the rock with light that create depths, and it's also shorter, could be going down. Okay, then leave some between, so you don't paint all the way around the rock. That's too much. Okay. Just this much. And some dance, like here, dance, some dance maybe on the bottom. Some sparse. Create some rhythm. The rock could be shaded even more after the grass gets dry. So let's see. We have to look at the whole picture now for the rhythm of the ink. So I will start to dot these leaves with a medium grade dark ink. So let's do this part since we are here. I'll just continue this. This is more like the 4 dots of the foliage. Some kind of bush maybe. It's not the grass, but 4 stroke jie, the jie stroke we learned. Remember that? It's like this. You can also do just like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think that's what he does. I think, but not maybe 2, 3. It's like this, just left and then connect. Okay, I didn't pay attention on the composition. Now I got like a too even here. So there should be a cluster on the bottom here, dance cluster, and then some area without this. So I just add some water to dilute it. And now I use this dots to squeeze out the root. I think it's more like a 3, not 4. Yeah, from the okay. Charlie is leaving. Let me see, what time is it? Oh, we still have time, right? Okay. Yeah, we still have more than half an hour. Should be enough time to finish this on time. Okay. So here we have the little crown kind of shape. Be careful with that. I'll just do 3 because it's easier, and that's what the artist did. Try not to do the 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, left, and then okay. So this have several shapes that lead to, just like a bamboo, horizontal shape. This branch has a little shape also. This side, I mean. And you can use water on the outside, and I see some blurry effect, so let's make it misty. And you can add some more. This is not in the original, but I think it might help to balance the composition. Let me see. I think it should have some. It could be cut off by the photograph. Okay. Yeah, this should have some. But there's some surface on this side of the root, like grass. There's some grass. Just like this identifiable orchids, but we could have other grass, things like that. We just blur it off focus. Okay, now the top part of this bush. Okay, that's about it. And then lighter ones on this rock. I add water to the brush, so I start with light, and then it gets darker. It's a kind of reversed gradation, which is I always use. Instead of wash the brush to get light, I just add water to the tip of the brush, and so you get light, and then get darker again over the over several strokes, right? That's how I got the variations here. So that's about it, and we leave some. You can do some lighter ones behind this dry tree branches, and just fill in this area, this with very light ink. If it's too dark, I just put some clean water around it. It will make it lighter with the water. Not to the stroke, but outside. Same technique we learned from the contemporary artists, Fu Bao Shi's style. Okay. Let's see the this is just water here, and the background we need to give it a little definition. It's more decorative than realistic style, but you see the lines on that. So we could have done the lines first, but I just tried different approach, to see if it works. So let's just do the outline. This stroke we learned, it's like fish head start, or gradually lift, press, and lift, press, that kind of. And here is a peak, then goes down and press. That's the contour, and then we do the shaping with lighter ink, if you will. Parallel almost, but not exactly. Okay, and then this is one slope on this yang side, and then the yin side maybe on the other side, darker side. Here. Very light gray, but a little darker than the background. It's fine, almost the same tone, just a little. Here is another shape in front of this. So there's foreground in the background, in foreground and the background in the distant mountain. Notice that the stroke, the horizontal stroke, could be overlapping the bottom of this cliff. So let's do the cliff first. So you can make a coarse cliff, and then kind of put a horizontal line to smooth it, even like that. It's easy to end all the stroke the same. It would be difficult, I think. So they just do this. So there's slope stroke, slant strokes, and then the horizontal one. And I can see there are even some rocks in offshore, like little islands there, but we don't need to do all the, just a suggestion maybe, just a little vertical line. Okay, this part, it's a little too sharp. I try to make it a little duller than the tree and lighter than the tree. But you don't have to avoid the tree, just cross it. If if necessary, you can use dark on the trees to separate them. There are very subtle little steps within this. I can see this is really what makes masterpiece. You know, the little details of this thing really separate amateur from master. But when I try to mimic, copy everything, it tends to be stiff, not my chi anymore. So be careful if you have to sacrifice the resemblance of, from the chi. So emphasize on the chi, the overall chi on your own, instead of copy the. Okay, now the time to do dark. Let me just see if, yeah, we need to do the lighter dots first on the trees. So you can the tree is not separated from the background that much, but here we don't need. I think it's a good idea just create a kind of solar shape, of this. I see some space between the tree and some white space between the tree and the background is enough. So I'm using this dark, not darkest dots to add the contour. So instead of using lines, I use dots to separate. You can reinstate some strokes if needed. But that's too wet here, so we need to be careful. And you can dot beyond the trunk. See, these dots are very long, so vary the shape sometimes when the rhythm demands, something like that. And then we'll do the dark on the bottom to nail it, to tack it, to root it. The some standing out is okay. And you can see some little things. It's just details. Dots is just details, and there are lots of hanging dots here, and quite wet. So we use more water. I just add water to the brush, so it starts light, and then gets darker. Different cluster lengths vary that, and then maybe a little distant between clusters. I need to rotate the brush, otherwise it becomes split. This is too wet. The master has this natural rhythm, from wet to dry, because he started from this, and without reloading, just progress here. Sometimes we have to fake it. That's kind of hard. If you didn't follow exactly, because if you do it with a direction, going, it become lighter and drier by itself. Instead of adjust the moisture on each stroke, you just follow a certain sequence. Oops. Okay. Let me do the dark on this. You have to wait that to dry, I think. We can do this part is dry. So you just find the dry part to add the darkest dark. So you can see the dark in the middle of this groove, right? So I just add, instead of repeat, you can just add another layer overlapping with the previous one. Not exactly the same. Okay. And on this root part, you need to put I think this is almost like some different kind of shape. Just long dots, yeah, and some small dots. To squeeze out, you can make it really dense here just using dots. And add another layer. Squeeze out this little shape here. I'll just do a little wash to make it this white part to stand out a little more. Okay, so let's see. Do I need any dark here? Maybe just a little bit, not too much. Okay. And the bottom part, this is the root. I need to have a little dark still for the bark, I think, just to make it a little realistic. So there are at least 4 layers, but not more than 4, I think. This tree has a lot of wrinkle. It's old, dead tree, This is too wet. Just wait a little bit for the last dots. That's about okay. Try not to do it on wet, because this part is wet and wet. This one definitely dry on the gray, dark. Okay, so here we need a little bit line. Okay. Detail and just be careful not overdo. There's the distinction between these two is blurry on the original. That's okay. I think it seems the background is more definitive. That's the kind of style you want to follow. If you make everything stiff, then there's no more style, you know. So that's where I learned how to deal with this. So some part is really subtle, very subtle. Like it here is, I can use a little bit dry stroke, maybe just barely enough to separate. But when you look at very closely, you will see there. So you just make this part a little bit stronger and blurry. Yeah, sometimes when you try to think in logic, it's become different brain of your left brain. You should use your instinct, your subconscious. Okay, now we add little dark to finish. So this part is dark along the side, not in the middle of the trunk. And here we have another groove. You can, it has a shape of its own, so not exactly repeating, but just have a little area shape of this dark itself has a rhythm. See, so this is the longest part. It stays within that light. That's a implicit move. If you go beyond, it will make it dry, feels dry. Yeah, so just make it stay within the light. Okay. It's too wet, so I need to add a little dry to balance that. But not too much, I think. You can dot a lot. Maybe we can exaggerate what you like. But yeah, just to keep the rhythm. Okay, now the top part. It's on the far side more. They're not equal. This side, up side, is more with more dots. Not on both sides. I noticed that some dense part here, where the two layers overlap, indicate that. Okay, some dots on the far side. And I just fake a little. Okay, now I think this is cut off. It could be, my favor is not enough. It could be longer there. You just Normally the dark should not be close, so close to the margin. Yeah. That's a mistake. Too heavy. Sometimes, when that happens, you just have to leave it out. Stop. If you keep working on it, try, too hard, it'll make it worse. I just use clean water and just make it lighter. Let me see. This is a rescue. You don't see this if it's not live. I use paper towel on the bottom and the top to blot it. See how that works? That goes onto my paper towel. Clean water. Do it one more time. Blotting. And then let it dry. Don't paint it until it gets dry. Just try to reduce the ink. Many times it just works without retouching. If I didn't do that, it's too heavy, kind of tangent to the edge. So this is okay. It's thing, but if you have a cutoff field, it's not very good. The original has this kind of band with very thin, and almost like here is fine. So I try to rescue a little bit. Okay, let me see if any dark, anything before I sign it. Oh, here is one thing I need to fix. This area, this rock, it's too light, right? So we just wash a little bit more at the bottom here. This shady part especially could have a little darker. And maybe here too. Oops. And you can use dry brush to add to make the color darker when it's wet. That's another tip. Okay. And you can look at the true value by turning it against the light. I cannot. Let me see if I can put a light behind. Can you see it? Yeah. I think you can see better the tone. If I should against the dark, it would be like that. So that's the tip. Okay. just eliminate unnecessary white. It's almost like watercolor to me. Okay, and see when the ink runs into this dry place, you want to add more moisture to drive it back to keep it from bleeding into the dry part. So I put the water around this area, so the water makes, remember it was darker than this, the water kind of make it lighter, like show on this original painting, give it a transparent feel. And some part just went directly with the light, but some part I did the darker, but use water to replace it, you can see, to lighten it. Okay, let me see where he wrote. Yeah, his calligraphy is hard to recognize. It's all cursive, almost like a Taoist talisman. The little Taoist write this kind of incarnation, or what do you call it? Omen, kind of protective charms, with this kind of style. Nobody can read it. Actually, this is not that. It's readable for educated literati class. I can read maybe half of it. I need to prepare if I need to translate that. Anyway, so I'm going to just write the title of this painting is 苍松图 梅花庵族. That's his title. Temple of the host of Plum Blossom Temple. But we can just use his pseudonym title, pseudonym name, 仲圭, Wu Zhonggui. Or Wu Zhen, that's his official name, is also okay. So I just write Fang or Li, or let me see, Ling. Ling is paint after copy. Yeah, copy. So Ling. Ling means copy. Wu. His last name is Wu. Zhong. Gui. Yeah, like the same Gui as 下归 is Gui. Yeah. 吴仲圭 苍松图 Old pine. Old pine painting. 图 means picture. Old pine picture. Okay. And year of I just put the rat. Yeah. Someone is calling me. Okay, I have to. Stamp. Okay. Now you put the stamp under it. Make sure it's oriented correctly. put here a little lower than the signature on the gravity line. Okay, that's it. Here's the complete picture. Because the paper has tan as a little yellowish tone in it, so I don't need to paint the background. You can, yeah, it's a monoprint. I don't think there's any color, but they might be a little indigo and amber. It's not discernible. I think it's not very colorful. If they're very, very light. I don't think it's mono ink. Yeah, just maybe photograph reflection have some bluish. Okay, Susan is already left. Okay, so time is up. Let me open discussions. It's 11:30. We did it on time this time. And how you guys are doing? Let me see. Okay, you can unmute.
I feel like I'm getting
Thank you,
better.
Henry.
Okay. Somebody.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Henry, that this is Susan. I'm feeling better using the brush. I was using too much ink and too much water before, and I'm using less, and that's really helping.
Oh yeah, you need to control the moisture. See here, I probably did too wet, but I like to create this kind of misty feel on the original. It was probably on silk. I'm not sure on this one. Usually it's on silk, so they can use lots of water to wash without breaking the paper. I think that's yeah, that's what. But this paper is mulberry paper. That's why it was stand to wash pretty well. So you can try that. Yeah. So always start with some dry before you do the wet. So you give under structure, not just pure wet. See, this is too wet. I need to add a little bit definition there. Okay. Any other comments and reflections of this painting? Yeah, there's no end. You know, if you just hang it on the wall, and it will tell you where you need to adjust. That was a scary part. I think I rescued it here on this corner. It's okay now. It was just cut off, you know, too dark. So I rescued it. This method works on mulberry paper. Maybe. Yeah, I think I'd always do this with mulberry paper, no problem. But with unsized shrine, it might break. You can still try, you know, but if you use a lot of water, it might start to fall apart. So mulberry paper is very forgiving. And you can use a small brush, just add, you know, this little fine lines of detail if needed. Just a little bit.
What brush is that you're
this
using?
is the same brush I use for. This is actually not the same, but similar to this new brush called Mustard. It's an old version of a landscape brush. If you became our customer like 10 years ago, we may, I think probably 10 years ago or 80 years ago, we had this. It's now sold out, so we made this new version, a little smaller but a similar shape. I think this would do the same thing. The Mustard brush, BHA Mustard brush, would do the same.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, basically use this for all the painting. You can I also recommend this rabbit hair combination brush. We don't have the small one anymore, but we do have this large. This is the large one, so there's a medium one also. It's very full. You can load a lot, and it's in between stiff and soft. So for this kind of painting, it's very helpful. You can do the wash with it, and then dot also. Wash and dot. Because for this one might be too small for the wash. You can see, especially if it's large like this size. So I used this brush for the wash. The red hair combination. It's black in the center of white. Goat hair. Not goat hair. It's probably both rabbit from different rabbit. It's hard to say if it's the animal hair actually, the material. They just use some category names. Rabbit usually means the stiff hair, but yeah, I think the white probably still goat, but they call it rabbit. Okay, so this two practice you can try to finish. If you don't have time, you can do it over the weekend. Next time we'll do. There are two options. One is to do Lan Yin. He's a master in Ming Dynasty, in the a leader of the Zhejiang province, Zhe's style. Zhejiang is Hangzhou, the former capital of Southern Song Dynasty. So after the restoration of the Chinese Ming Dynasty, they restored this Southern Song style in Hangzhou. It's very close to the formal, Hangzhou, the Southern Song style. It's one of my favorite style actually. I can also start to do the Orthodox school, starting by the late Ming master Dong Qichang, and he had a series of Southern school, Northern school that all started from him, and then the 4 ones of early Qing. So we probably do a little more on Ming Dynasty Northern school before we do the Dong Qichang Orthodox. Orthodox school is emphasized on Southern Dynasty. Actually, these two masters, the Huang Gongwang and Wu Zhen or Wu Zhonggui, the one we did today, are Southern school literary paintings. So they are more. They use this kind of parallel tone or shaping stroke with dots and very calligraphic. Usually, the subject matter are scholar life, like Yu Qiao, wood cutters, wood gathering, and fishermen, and studio in the mountain. Like we did to the Nizan, the little hut in the woods or bamboo, that kind of thing. So this Orthodox school. The Southern Song style in Ming Dynasty is called Zhe style, Zhejiang, Zhe province style. They use same technique as Southern Song, but very elaborated. They also have influence from the Yuan Dynasty masters. So it's very, very, how to say, friendly to learn, I think. Not like the monumental landscape, but just like corner landscape, that kind of more just like this, a tree or similar to this. But I think this one's pretty close to Southern Song style also. It has it's probably the closest among the 4 yuan masters to Song style. It has this kind of softness of the literati, but it has bone of the Southern Song dynasty strokes, like the branches, that kind of thing. Very strong, very implicit. So, unlike the modern contemporary style, we use split brush. It's too explicit for them to. Zen painting may be explicit also, but it could be very implicit, just simplified of this kind of stroke. Anyway, it's I hope you get into this when next time you go to museum, like a metropolitan museum, you will see the difference, not just the same, in your eyes. The Chinese painting are become more individual, kind of, and difference over time, very distinct, from Yuan to Song, and then Ming Dynasty kind of restored the Song Dynasty. Next time we'll talk about that. All right, I'll let you go. I know everybody's getting busy, huh?
Okay, thank you very much, Henry.
Thank you. I will
Thanks, Henry.
see you next week.
Thank you,
Take
Henry.
care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Much.
Can I ask a
Yes, please. Any question? Who's want to just unmute yourself? I'm still here.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me. Okay.
Your voice is broken. It's like maybe can type in.
I'm going to type it in.
Okay. Let me see if any question on in the chat room. We have busy day. I will finish. Okay. Do you have example of this? His plum trees. He doesn't do plum trees. He's a master of bamboo. Let me show you his bamboo. Actually, his bamboo is the best. Let me see if I can find his bamboo. Okay, let me. It's stopped. Okay. Yeah, that's the painting we did. Okay, and I try to share with you the bamboo. Here's a good example. He does bamboo the best. He has an album of 12, and if you just search his name or go to Google, his name, and you'll see a lot of bamboo by him. It's very, and with this cursive style, easy to recognize. His bamboo is very famous. His bamboo. Mm-hmm.
I have a question, just based on an observation. I don't know if you have an answer for it, but I've noticed that in these classes, almost all of the people are women. There are a few men, but are there any women painters?
Oh yes, there. The Yuan Dynasty. Zhao Meng, the Master Zhao, the literary leader, the descendant of Song Dynasty. His wife is very famous woman artist called Guan Furen. Let me see if I can find her painting here. Guan Furen. Oh, we can Google it. Her maiden name is Guan. Her husband is Zhao Mengfu. Let me see if I can Google. 夫人。Okay, Chinese. Okay. Yeah, someone already searched the bamboo of Guan. Mrs. Guan. Yeah, here's. Let me share the screen with you. Yeah. This is the Google search result. Someone already asked this. She's very famous with this. Let me see. Can I enlarge? It's kind of hard to enlarge. Can you see it on the right side? And also, this. Yeah, this is a detail. That's his picture. I think this painting also by her. So she's very famous bamboo painter. Yeah, she also does the rock. I'm not sure about this one, but certainly this one is. Yeah. So there's some, but not as popular. Like literati, they have this. Not just the painting, they also do poet and poem and calligraphy. And in literature, we know there are many women, including some we call it concubines, but they're not just for they're well educated in all four arts like calligraphy, music, the painting, and the Go game also. So they probably not counted as the masters in the history. Like Zhao Menfu's wife, Mrs. Guan she's very famous. There are some other artists in like a specific like the flowers, the orchids maybe you can find. Yeah, but not because in the past they are not allowed in public life. Basically, they're kept in home. So, the painting book I used to teach the other class the flower and birds painting. It was the husband paint for her wife to learn the flowers. So they are encouraged to paint for sure, but not as court painters. I think I don't know anybody in the court academy are women, because they are official. There's no woman in the office. They might be in the court, like the empress. The emperor's mother was the empress, not empress. The emperor's daughter, right? What I forgot. What's the name for the emperor's mother? She's a painter. The last emperor of the Qing dynasty. She's also a painter. So many artists. You can see the last example is this lady Jiang. Lady Jiang. She spent her last years in New York. Do you know the Chiang Kai-shek's wife? She's a very good artist. She does landscape. Yeah. The first lady of the Republic China. Yeah, she's after her husband died, she lived in New York and paint until she died. I think maybe 10 years ago, at the age of 106 or something. So she lived a very long time, and she learned from Zhang Naiqian and Huang Junbi and the other famous artists. So she's a very good artist, but not professional artists. Just like the men, they don't sell art for a living, maybe just for hobby. Yeah, I think it's a very popular hobby among women and men in any period of time, I think. Yeah. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. I think this question was raised in the class also. You can do a search. We have a string on that, and we collected women artists paintings. Maybe I can find that later in the Lean network.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, any other questions you may have?
Hey Henry, I just have a curious question.
Uh-huh.
When you're printing on the Xuan paper using printer, how do you print that?
Oh, I have a Xuan paper that's designed for printer. It has maybe some special layer. Yeah. We have that paper. You want to purchase that? We were thinking about selling them, but we haven't.
Yes. Yes. That would be
okay.
great.
Okay.
Curious, maybe someday I will purchase.
Yeah, maybe we just sell them in small quantities so you can try first. Then if you like it, we can. We don't have much, but we have like 200 in hand. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 8.
8 by it's a
by 11.
A4. It's a little different than the paper, but you can adjust a little bit. It's basically the same kind of computer size, but it's called A4, right? A4 in Asia, the standard. Yeah. It's slightly different size, but most printer can do. The problem is you cannot touch up. You can. I tried, but it won't take regular ink. You can.
Oh,
only
really? So you have to buy a different kind of ink.
No. I mean, after the inkjet print, you cannot paint on it. I was thinking like I could just paint the ink and then I do coloring. That won't work. So you cannot paint on that paper. You can only use it for printing purpose. You
I
understand what I'm saying? That paper is for printing, not for painting.
Okay, so after that you cannot paint on that you print out.
You can, but it's hard. It doesn't absorb.
Got it.
Yeah, it's
Thank
not,
you.
You're welcome. Okay. Emily, any questions, Emily?
No, I was the one that asked about the women, and I'd love to have some of that paper. I think that would be really fun to play with.
The paper with printing. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to Victoria, and then we'll put maybe online. We can sell maybe at a 10 bundle or something for testing and see how you like it. Okay, I'll do that. Maybe in a few days you should check back on the website to see the specialty paper section maybe.
So is that any requirement on the printer? Just laser or just regular?
We have
color
only
printer?
we only tried on laser, but I think the jet printer should work. Yeah, it should be it should work with both jet or laser. I think yeah it worked on our printers. It's just like a computer paper. Yeah, but it has the texture like the Xuan paper. I didn't try. Maybe you can try on regular Xuan. You just cut it to the size of the paper, see if it works. It might work. I know many people use the Wenzhou paper. It has a wax layer. That certainly works with printers. The Wenzhou paper, it's kind of thin. I didn't try. I think it's too thin for my printer. But they have roller printer to use that. I don't know many people use Wenzhou kind of roll for printing.
What is the Wenzhou paper?
Wenzhou paper is like it's called Wenzhou 皮纸. It's waxed. It has a shining surface, just like this is regular paper. It doesn't have the wax layer. It has a layer, very smooth. Yeah. Okay. You can
Thank
use.
you, Henry.
You can also use the thicker rice paper, like a triple xuan. I have a client who used triple xuan to print lanterns, like lantern covers. Yeah.
I've tried printing on mulberry paper, and that works pretty well.
Yeah, mulberry with the shining side, it should work because it's semi-size. Yeah, it may work.
It looks nice. It's not exactly like your painting, but it has its own effect.
Okay. Yeah, I normally don't do the printing. I think I used to print on cards and sell them, but not on rice paper. So yeah. You can try. You can. So this kind of rice, this mulberry paper should work. It has the shining side. That side should work. Maybe. You can see it's not bleed through, so that's a good sign of it. If it's too absorbed, it won't work, I think. Yeah, the mulberry paper Wenzhou is a kind of machine-made mulberry. Yeah, that's so far as I know, it works with inkjet. Okay.
Thank you, Henry.
Bye bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Emily. Bye.